left this one alone. Now, why am I bothering to tell you that? Well, I don't need your sympathy. It's been 20 years and I'm cancer-free. Sometimes to get to the desired outcome, you have to choose to go through pain. If what you're looking for is a positive outcome. That's what Epicurus is talking about. Happiness cannot always be defined, he said, according to feel-good feelings. Sometimes we choose to embrace pain and put off pleasure, knowing that a greater pleasure might result from it, even though we're not interested in pain. That's why I started asking, how many of you want less happiness than more happiness, more pain than less pain? We don't obviously embrace pain, but pain is a part of living. And sometimes you go through the pain so you can get to what you want, which is whatever happiness is. 7 years after the cancer treatment, they declare me cancer-free. It's August 11th and August 13th. I cross the road in my little town and a 6,000-pound van traveling 20 miles an hour runs me over. That was painful. That was real painful. It took 12 weeks before they retroed my ankle back. I have a 6-foot stainless steel plate and 2 4-inch stainless steel screws still holding it together. They put me on a treadmill, reverse, and that retroed my ankle. I don't know how it retros your ankle, but it did. One day I walked out of there and I didn't even realize I was walking normal again. And it was painful. The whole thing was painful. 9 broken and fractured bones. Oh well. No pain, sometimes no gain. So does everybody follow what Epicurus is talking about here? Now, for most of us, honestly, what we're looking for is just the good feeling. And there's nothing wrong with the good feeling. It's fine. But oftentimes, without choice, we have to deal with pain in order to get to what we want at the end of the pain, which is some form or some measure of happiness. Any questions about that at all? So half of what you'll see on your test is this. But there's another half, and he's really wrong about this, and I want to emphasize this for you. Epicurus presents a famous argument for the conclusion that we should not fear death. According to Epicurus, something can harm us only if it causes negative sensations. Because death does not have sensations, death cannot harm us. There's a lot of questions to be asked about that. Number one, how does he know what happens after you live? How do you know there's no sensations if you go anywhere at all? How do you know there's no sensations? How do you know there's no feelings? How do you know there's no thoughts? And the answer to that is he doesn't know. He's making a general assumption about what he believes. He says, therefore, you can't fear death because you can't feel anything. So if you can't feel anything, what do you have to be afraid of? Well, if it turns out he's right, that there's nothing after death, therefore there's nothing to fear because you can't feel anything that would be negative, then he's right. But the simple reality is Epicurus doesn't know that. It's part of his religion, it's part of his theology, and you can give him that, but it doesn't make what he said right. But it will be on your exam, so I need you to focus on this as well as what I shared with you about happiness and pain. So the 2 things about Epicurus you have to focus on. His conclusion about not fearing death cannot be substantiated. We can understand what he's saying, but it can't be substantiated. It can't be proved. However, what's more important is what he said about sometimes embracing pain because it leads to a greater appreciation of whatever happiness is supposed to be. No pain, no gain. And we do embrace that. We do incorporate that into the way that we do things. And that may well be appropriate in some cases. I've given you a couple of cases for me, and the videos I showed you gave you cases where sometimes pain does lead to a greater happiness. I don't think it's anything anybody desires. But it tends to be something that we experience in life anyway. So to that degree, maybe Epicurus is right. Maybe if we don't avoid those painful times we need to go through, maybe there is a payoff at the other end. And that becomes a personal decision. I can't make that for you, and you don't make that for me. So all that being said, any questions? So 1 more minute. So today, and especially Thursday, we're going to go through 3 more ethicists and talk about their ideas of happiness. They're different. Some of them I think are real attractive, and some of them, I guess you have to decide if you want to embrace them or not. Any questions for me at all? Okay, red light, green light when you go home. If you came in late, let me know you're here. I can mark you present, please.